So in my recent rant video I was talking about the internal combustion engine sales ban forthcoming, and I noticed one or two comments that I thought was worth replying to or responding or discussing, shall we say. Now in the video what I said was that zero tailpipe emissions means zero tailpipe, which therefore means zero internal combustion engine. Now, obviously, zero tailpipe emissions means zero tailpipe. Zero tailpipe means zero internal combustion engines. There is no way around it. There is no other solution. The only thing with zero tailpipe is zero internal combustion engine. And I noticed one particular comment that actually said that I was wrong.
How dare you!
And that I was wrong because hydrogen was going to be the saviour of the internal combustion engine because there's no CO2 emissions. Now, this response, whilst it's in many respects right, is also very wrong. And it's very wrong when you look at it from the perspective of the policymakers. And this is the key thing here. We're talking about the policymakers and the policy that is coming down the tracks. We're not talking about the technology. Obviously, hydrogen, alternative fuels, biofuels, all these things that are being developed that can be used in internal combustion engines. To a right-thinking normal person on the street, you're absolutely right. They are ways to cut CO2 emissions to help save the planet, and could be the saviour that allows us to keep riding internal combustion engines. Why wouldn't you agree with that? Well, the problem is that the policymakers don't see it that way. What they're looking at is an absolutist approach to this policy. They're talking about zero emissions from the tailpipe. And as the bloke who made the comment on that last video, hydrogen internal combustion engines does actually produce some NOx. Yes, NOx is not CO2, but the government doesn't care that this isn't CO2 because they conveniently conflate air pollution and CO2 emissions. Now what they're saying is they don't want any pollution of any sort, whether that be air pollution or CO2, coming from the tailpipe, which means basically zero NOx. And burning hydrogen in an internal combustion engine does create NOx. Yes, you can argue that it will create less NOx than the burning of fossil fuels, but that doesn't matter to them because they've got a zero tolerance approach to this, haven't they? The zero is the absolute, and that is what they're enforcing. And even if you did persuade them that they really should be basing this policy only on CO2 emissions and not air pollution, they still have an argument there as well, because the internal combustion engine using hydrogen does actually produce trace amounts of CO2 by burning the lubricants that are in the combustion chamber. So unfortunately, yes, you are absolutely right, hydrogen should be the solution here, but as far as the government is concerned, it is a zero tolerance approach to this policy, and they will not allow it. Now, if you think that I'm just making this up, I can assure you I've had the discussion with officials and ministers and MPs, anybody who will listen, trying to make the point that yes, we've got alternative fuels that could be a solution that will allow us to keep using internal combustion engines, but they all to a man refuse to accept this. Whilst a few years ago I had to make that argument and people had to believe what I was saying in terms of what the policymaker's opinion is, but now I'm in the fortunate position of being able to just point to the existing policy for cars and vans to show that I'm absolutely right. What they've done for cars and vans is introduce the ZEV mandate, so that's the zero emission vehicle mandate, which mandates that all the manufacturers have to supply a certain proportion of electric only vehicles. They're not talking about zero emission at the tailpipe vehicles, they're talking about electric only. So this really is a blinkered approach that is promoting electric technology only. So if you think that you're going to get away with an internal combustion engine because of hydrogen or e-fuels or biofuels or any of these other exciting and interesting innovations that are being developed, unfortunately here in the UK they will not be able to sell those technologies. So this isn't a question of is the technology right, this is a question of is the policy right. This is what we're fighting the policy. We are not fighting the technology, we are fighting the policy because the policy is wrong. So please, there is no time for complacency on any of this. We need everybody to get together and tell the government in no uncertain terms that we will not accept this policy for motorcycles.